Now here's a guy who knows how to make a grand entrance and who has decided to ride a big surf wave right into the Len Amsterdam radio show studio. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present from Fort Jackson, South Carolina, United States of America, the one and only Johnny Proctor.
Whoa!
Well done, JP.
Hey, Len! What's happening?
I wish I had sold tickets to that entrance. You are a true showman.
Why, thanks, Len. I have been told that I have the perfect face for digital radio.
Can you tell me a little about your history as a musician?
It's more or less a typical story. I played a lot of garage bands, a lot of nightclubs, and a lot of dives. Any place that would let us set up a couple amps and a cheap PA, we would play. And I played some more upscale. I opened for Phil Kagi, the great Christian guitar player and musician. But I never got it all out of my system, so here I am. I'm a husband and a father of four, and I just love to do it. So I'm going to keep on doing it. And great promoters like yourself have made it a cool thing now.
How would you describe your sound?
Well, Len, I would describe my sound as centered around the human voice. I love vocal music, and anybody who hears me will immediately pick up that I've been heavily influenced by vocal groups like the Beach Boys and the Four Seasons, and even going back further than that, maybe the Four Freshmen. It's guitar, bit driven, and it's very bright, optimistic, hopeful, happy, and hopefully it brings some healing to the listener. That's really what I'm after.
Who is your musical hero, JP?
My musical hero is Brian Wilson, and that is something that I make no apologies for. I'm very devoted to trying to learn from the man. He's such a genius, and his music, it's been 45 years since the Beach Boys hit the scene, and their music is still really fresh. But I also, I mentioned Phil Kagi. I'm very influenced by Phil Kagi. I learned how to play guitar out of a Beatles songbook, and I'm a Beatle maniac to this day. I've really picked up a lot of influences right here from the independent scene, the independent musician scene, and I listen to other artists, and I hear what they're doing, and it really turns me on.
Do you have a hands-on approach when it comes to the production of your own recordings?
Hands-on approach, yeah, you could say that, since I sing all the voices, play all the instruments, do the editing, the arranging, and the mixing and mastering, so I would call that a hands-on approach. Thanks for asking.
What do you think about the new opportunities the internet has brought for the independent musician?
Well, the internet has set an entire new landscape, and it's very egalitarian. It's putting a lot of people on the same footing as maybe the more powerful established musicians, and a lot of people are getting heard. And I find it really exciting. I mentioned a minute ago about being influenced by other contemporary independent artists. And this is going back to the way it was back in the bar band days. You'd be influenced by the 4 or 5 groups that you would play with on a circuit. But now there's 4,000 or 5,000. And the online music distributors and the promoters and enthusiasts like yourself who are really working hard to get us listened to, you've made an entire new scene, and it's just an exciting environment. Everybody's welcome, and nothing is off the table.
Now, one thing I was very surprised about was your profession, a very demanding one at that.
Well, yeah, I'm a professional combat soldier, and we're at a time of war right now, so it's a pretty demanding profession, but it's also a very rewarding profession, and it's a pleasure to serve with the dedicated servicemen and women that I do serve with, and our coalition partners, like our friends from Canada.
You recently spent some time in Iraq?
Yeah, I sure did, Len. I was in Iraq in 2003 and 2004 to remove Saddam Hussein from power. We lost some really good men over there. We really changed the country for the better. I really believe that with all my heart, and I believe that the mission was a necessary one, and I believe that the long-term results are going to show that.
Now, there is so much negative press on what the U.S. is doing here. Can you share some positive news from this front, from the point of view of average Joe soldier?
Sure, Len, I'd love to. What you won't see on the network news or the cable news is how the people's daily lives have changed, how their eyes are full of hope, and their schools are open, and their hospitals are open, and industry is happening. And even though there is this insurgency and there's just a small handful of really hard-headed bad guys, the people are generally very optimistic. They enjoy freedom. You see what happened on the election day. They all risked their life to go out there and vote. And just to see on a daily basis, you can see the neighborhoods change. You can see the markets opening up. You can see the kids back at school. You look on the news and all you see are turned over cars and flames and all this. But on a day-to-day basis, Iraq's just like a normal country. But it's a normal country that is full of the prospects of what freedom brings.
Your website lists one of your dislikes as negativity in a lot of the modern music being produced. Can you elaborate on this?
Well, I think art, and particularly music, is there to help us express our emotions, all of our emotions, not just positive emotions or hopeful or, being inspired or being joyful. And so there is a place to express negativity and anger and darkness and bad moods and depression and things like that. But just when I was talking about negativity music, I'm really talking about melodies, talking about the way a certain feel or certain sound of a melody, or lack of melody, should I say, nowadays with some of the music. There's no attempt at constructing a meaningful melody. And I'm a melody guy. I grew up listening to the Beatles and the Beach Boys, and melody is very important to me. And that's what I meant when I said negativity. Of course, some of the lyrical themes are just off the map. I'm not even going to go there. But let's just say, I'm looking for something to uplift and inspire and particularly heal. There's a lot of hurting people out there, and there's a lot of music that, when you're not looking, it really touches you on the inside, and it does something good to you. And that's what I try to do with my music.
I agree with you here, Johnny. I've always thought that good music should be both entertaining and uplifting. You have incorporated your faith into your music.
Well, then, the reason that faith is in my music is because faith is in my life. There was a time when I felt like I didn't need God. I was, sure of myself and a little hot shot and a little local rock star and doing my own thing. But life has a way of leveling you out and making you see that you're not, the world's not revolving around you. I thank God that I'm even alive today with some of the things that I was into. And I try to put that in my music, that God is the purpose in my life, that His love is what drives me and to create and to sing and to make melody and poetry and rhythm and to reach out to other people and say, hey, listen to this. And I get a lot out of music from other people's faith as well.
John, can you give out your website address for people who want to find out a little bit more about Johnny Proctor?
Sure, Lynn. That would be JohnnyProctor.com. That's where my bio and some pictures and some Army stuff and things like that are there. But also just go to SoundClick.com and do a search for Johnny Proctor, and you'll find a couple dozen of my songs there. Some of them are just demos, and I invite you to listen.
Well, that's a wrap. I'd just like to thank Johnny Proctor for dropping in the studio. Johnny Proctor is in the top of my playlist and should be on yours too. Len Amsterdam Radio Show, broadcasting from Canada, heard worldwide.
Len Amsterdam. The indie scene is the happening thing, and Len Amsterdam is the digital king. The beat of the street, you're in for a treat. Check out Len Amsterdam, crank it at the jam. 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 Len Amsterdam, crank it at the jams for you. Len Amsterdam. I'm Johnny Proctor, and you're listening to the Len Amsterdam Show.